Hey everybody, we're back with a new Mage Healing guide, this time looking at Phase 2 talents, runes, and rotation. Some things have changed, but really it kind of follows up from Phase 1, so let's dive in. For Arcane Healing, you are in fact going to go 31 points into Arcane. The only difference from Phase 1 is two on-use abilities. The first is Presence of Mind. This kind of is your oh shit button when you're healing. You can use it to cast an Arcane Blast instantly, giving you a stack as well as doing a bunch of damage and healing. The second ability is Arcane Power. Arcane Power is just a damage boost, but at the cost of mana. As a healer early in Nomer, you're probably not going to be using this as often as you might want to, so I would say save it until you get a better grasp of how much mana you have at the end of fights. All of the other points in the tree basically either increase your damage, mana, or crit chance, so they're just good in general. I do want to bring up a different talent tree that I used for leveling. It focuses on getting you more hit, as well as making arcane missiles unable to be interrupted. As a whole, I really liked leveling as arcane, and if you still haven't tried it out, I would definitely recommend giving it a go in Phase 2. Moving on to runes, the two staples that are going to stick around are Regeneration on chest and Arcane Blast on hands. Living Flame is another strong option for legs, but it is not the de facto anymore because its healing is basically non-existent, so use a Living Flame if you want to do damage. The new alternative is actually Arcane Surge, so they fixed some bug with it where the regeneration is a lot better than it used to be, so you can use it in your healing build when you run out of mana. Now we get to Missile Barrage, my favorite rune of Phase 2, and what I think defines Mage Healing. You have a 40% chance every time you use Arcane Blast to decrease the duration of your next arcane missiles, reduce the mana cost, making it 0, and then having it fire faster. So what that means is, I think in my opinion, mages become one of the most efficient tank healers in the entire game, depending on how many Missile Barrage procs you get. For boots, our last slot, you have an option between two choices. One, Spell Power, just increases your crit damage. Your other option is Chronostatic Preservation, which is a 2-second cast that puts a buff on you. If you press it again within the next 15 seconds, it consumes the buff, instantly healing your target. It's an incredibly strong ability, but it's kind of hard to fit into your current rotation, and it costs a good amount of mana. If you want to give it a go, I say try it out, but the spell power is totally fine, easy, you don't have to think about it, just put it on your boots and blast. Overall, I think this is the best set of runes to go into Nomer with for your first run. Eventually, you can swap your legs out to either Arcane Surge or Mass Regeneration. If you decide you want to try Chronostatic, you can swap that on your feet, but the other three runes are basically set in stone. And now let's move on to the new rotation, which isn't really any different than the old one, it just adds in proc chance. Your core rotation as an arcane healer is going to be spamming Arcane Blast until you get a Missile Barrage proc and clearing it with arcane missiles. The reason why this is so strong is because Arcane Blast with 0 stacks only costs 59 mana, and if you actually get a Missile Barrage proc plus the damage that Arcane Blast does, you essentially get around 1000 plus healing for 59 mana. It's insane. If you don't get the procs, it's going to be very similar to Phase 1, Arcane Blast 2 to 4 times, and then pick one of the 3 options based on your scenario. If you're low on mana, use your wand to drop the stacks. If you need to refresh regeneration, do it now to drop the stacks. And then if you just want to max damage, use a default arcane missiles, even if you don't have the proc. Alright, so that's easy to see, but I actually kind of want to show it off this time, and Blizzard was nice enough to give us some kind of target dummies, so we're going to head on down to 1000 Needles. Always, always, always keep regeneration up on your tanks. Then go into spamming Arcane Blast. If you get a Missile Barrage proc, take it immediately. In this video I script a few times, but the idea is that once you Arcane Blast, wait a little bit, and when I say a little bit, I mean like a small fraction of time, to see if it procced, and then take the Arcane Missiles if it did. When it comes to DPS, I don't think that's optimal, but when it comes to healing, this is the most efficient way to use your mana. Casting a single Arcane Blast into a Missile Barrage proc is insane in terms of healing efficiency. If you screw up like I just did right there and you cast a second Arcane Blast before you actually use the proc, that's totally fine. A few of those throughout a fight isn't going to actually kill your mana, but if you get really good at taking the Arcane Barrage proc like instantly, it's going to save you in the long run. If you're trying to get better at healing, I recommend coming down here and just trying to practice your rotation at some point. It's a way for you to kind of understand how much mana are you using at any given point. If you actually want to, if you really want to get into it, you can record, see how long it takes for you to run out of mana using a certain strategy, etc. It's a really cool thing that Blizzard added. It is for a warrior rune, so sometimes warriors come down here, knock these things out, and they disappear for like 30 seconds. But, you know, outside of that, glad they added it. Kind of sick. That's going to be it for the video. As always, thanks everybody for watching. Like, subscribe if you can. Hope you guys are having a great time in SOD, and I will eventually upload a full Noma run of me healing. Noma's kind of insane with nobody having any gear, but I feel like Arcane healers are incredibly strong, and as we get more gear, we're only going to get better. So I'm enjoying my time. Hope you guys are too, and I will see you in the next one.